This cannot be real. Netflix cannot stop Netflixing. You want to know what I think is the funniest thing about this topic?
Gentlemen?
The funniest thing about this is the fact that this is apparently real, but people are so fatigued from forced DEI that they view an actual historical depiction of something that happened during, I think, World War II as being fake.
Gentlemen, my wife and I have been talking about the problems we are having with the mail.
This cannot be real.
The Postal Battalion?
It's not real. Nobody would make a show about this.
This is our mission! And we will not fail!
Oh my god,
The
it is real.
6888.
Oh my God!
Allow me to pose you a question, dear viewer. When you think of the heroes of the Second World War, what do you imagine in your mind? Could it be the first wave of British and American soldiers who went ashore?
I know what people on Twitter would say if you say, imagine the heroes of World War II. I know what they would say. I got a good feeling about what they might say.
Into a storm of fire and metal on the beaches of Normandy? Maybe the Soviet conscripts, starving and badly equipped, who charged to almost certain death across the frozen, blasted hellscape of Stalingrad. Perhaps the Marines slogging through the steaming jungles and islands of the Pacific against a fanatically determined enemy. Well, if your answer fell into any of those categories, then clearly...
You've got to do better, Senator. You've got to step up.
Because as everyone knows, the truly heroic battle of the Second World War was sorting a backlog of undelivered mail. I can't, man. Like, what are we even doing here? That right there is the subject of Netflix's compelling new show, The 6888, based on the real-life exploits... Wait, is exploits really the word I'm looking for here? The real-life administrative task that was carried out by the American 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion during World War II.
So it's real.
And no, I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
And I know this totally isn't how unit designations work, but I really love the idea that there's almost 7,000 postal battalions in the US Army. We don't get much fighting done in this here.
7,000 postal battalions? And how much we spend on this shit every year? Damn, do they have email? I guess they didn't have email back then.
Army, but goddamn, our letters arrive on time every time.
They didn't have cell phones.
The gist of the show, and I'm going to do my best to make this sound as dramatic as possible here, is that by 1944 there was a massive backlog of mail to and from the hundreds of thousands of men fighting on the front lines in Europe.
Obviously,
naturally, this was bad for morale because soldiers like to get news from their families back home, so the army assigned the 6888 Battalion to tackle the problem.
Yeah.
And they did, by working quickly and efficiently to sort and deliver letters.
Good for them.
I mean, that's it, really.
Really?
So why exactly were Netflix keen to make a multi-million-dollar TV show about it?
You mean the White Women's Army Corps? Or is there another?
Well, I think you know why. Isn't it funny when studios are fully aware that their output's grown so ridiculous that it's literally become a meme, and instead of course correcting to prove their detractors wrong, they just say, fuck it.
This is the problem.
Swear.
What is the movie? Denzel Washington. I believe a number of other, like, insanely famous, very prolific black actors in the same general type of topic. Which one was it? Glory? Was it Glory? Yes. Yep, Morgan Freeman. Yeah. See, we already had one of these that came out, and people loved this fucking movie. People thought this movie was great. 7.5, a 95, a 78.
Going all in, boys. Like, I can totally get behind the idea of telling lesser-known stories or promoting the unsung heroes of World War II, especially ones from more diverse backgrounds that you don't tend to hear much.
You're right, but it's not women. That's a fact.
about, and there's a plethora of stuff
Yeah.
to choose from if you care to look for it. Like Virginia Hall, a distinguished OSS field agent who worked in occupied Europe, created an entire spy network by herself, helped to arm French commandos, and was the only female civilian to receive the Distinguished Service Cross. Or the Tuskegee Airmen, an all-black fighter unit who flew bomber escort missions over Europe and were credited with destroying or damaging over 400 enemy aircraft. Or Ludmila Pavlichenko, a Russian sniper known as Lady Death by her enemies, who was the most successful female sniper of the war with over 300 confirmed kills.
Well, I thought that was on 4chan.
Or Vernon Baker, an African-American soldier who personally took out 3 German machine gun nests, a command post, and a dugout after his platoon was pinned down by superior German forces and was eventually awarded the Medal of Honor.
Wow.
Or the Night Witches, an all-female bomber regiment who took to the air in rickety old biplanes that were so overloaded the pilots couldn't even carry parachutes, who flew in pitch darkness and attacked German positions all along the Eastern Front. I could go on and on for hours listing people and groups who fought and often died for their countries in World War II and deserve a lot more recognition.
Man, I bet this would have sucked. Man, can you imagine that? That would suck so much dick. Oh my god. You think? Yeah, I do. This has been the worst fucking day of my life. It's a bad day, yeah.
They got, whose stories would lend themselves
because like
pretty
you
easily-
think about like after you get done killing them all, you're still wet, and you're gonna go to bed that night, and you're still wet, like and there's sand everywhere. Oh my god.
to a movie or TV show.
And yeah, and
you're
that's if
telling
you're
me
not
that
dead.
This is the best you could come up with? Fucking postal workers? I mean, no disrespect whatsoever to the real life women who actually did this work. I'm sure it was long and tedious and demanding by today's standards, but describing their story as heroic is a bit of a stretch, don't you think? It's not like they were fighting on the front lines and risking life and limb to deliver vital communications that would turn the tide of battle or anything.
Nope.
They were sorting mail in an admin building in England, and they didn't even get there until February 1945 when the war was practically over. Sorry ladies, but paper cuts and cold coffee isn't quite the same level of danger as storming an enemy bunker or facing down a German Tiger tank.
That's true.
Tell me, what else have you got in store for us, Netflix? The inspirational story of Bob from accounts and his attempts to file his backlog of TPS reports before the end of the tax year? Brenda's heroic last-minute push to have that PowerPoint presentation ready in time for the big corporate seminar?
Oh jeez.
Larry refusing to let a
Oh,
shortage of
jeez.
printer ink stop him from displaying warnings about leaving unwashed dishes in the break room? Fuck you, Larry, I do what I want. Like
Man.
I said, I'm all for recognising the lesser-known contributions made during the war, but I don't think this is the way to go about it. Trying to frame every single person who performed even the most basic admin tasks in the safest environment possible as a hero isn't just a disingenuous attempt to pretend that chosen demographic group number
Damn,
2
I saw everybody put their arm up like that. I said, wait a minute, what side are they on? I was confused for like half a second. I said, what the fuck?
contributed just as much as everyone else, but it's pretty fucking disrespectful to the actual heroes who fought and died for their countries. Those two things are not the same, so stop trying
That's
to
right,
pretend that they are. And honestly, it's tough to think of a better example of modern Hollywood entitlement and hubris, not to mention the complete lack of hardship and adversity faced by writers today, that this is what they consider a heroic and inspirational story. And as tempted as I am to watch it just for the unintentional lols, I think I'm gonna have to give the 6888 a dishonorable discharge. At ease, soldiers, because that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
I feel like this one's not so bad. I feel like
Well,
really it's I don't really even think this is this big of a deal. I think that this is actually not a big thing. It's not really a bad thing. I think the problem is that it exists inside of a culture that is now so on edge and on guard for stuff like this that even an authentic recreation of something that actually happened is seen as inauthentic. And I think this is really kind of I'll link y'all the video here. I think this is really a great example of what I was talking about and what I've been talking about for a long time. about how when you start trying to put forward a narrative and shit for so long, people start seeing it when it's not even really there. Because I saw people discourse about this, and half the people that were talking about it thought it was fake. And I feel like, you know, what are we really doing here? What are we accomplishing here? That's the way I see it, right? It's a side story no one's thought about. That's kind of cool. I don't think there's anything wrong with the movie, right? I don't. Like, and that's what I was saying, like with Glory, right, or any of these other movies. Like the whole idea of like a minority regiment inside of a war. This is not the first time it's come out. And I feel like, again, it's cultural fatigue. Because I think that if this movie had come out in the year 1996, I feel like we probably all would have watched it as kids. That's the reality. Probably all would have watched it. It would have been fine. But I think that there's a degree of just fatigue that's happened. And I think that this movie is an unfortunate receptor. And in school, yeah, we probably would have watched it. No, think about it, right? We probably would have had to watch a movie like this if this had come out in, like, let's say 1998. And, you know, or whenever you were in elementary school or middle school, you probably would have had to, it would have been the day that you'd watch this movie. For sure. Absolutely. And people would have been like, all right, that's not so bad. Most likely, right? Directly to VHS release, yeah. And so I think that, again, this is really the best indicator. And like, this is, I love this video because this is what I've been trying to say. I've been trying to say that we're coming close to this. I've been trying to say, guys, this is going to happen. And people didn't want to listen. And now we have real stories that people think are fake because of the fatigue. That's it. You called it for a while ago. People become less tolerant. I know. Yeah, that's it. Comparing it to an actual war movie is a joke. I don't really think that's that big of a deal. Like, I mean, it's just about it's just marketing, right? I mean, that's it. I'd have to see the movie for myself. So many heroic Afro folks out there decided to do Post Workers movie. I honestly, I don't think that's a problem. I really don't. Like, I just don't. Like, I mean, I don't. Like, sorry. I'm not really there. I'm not there for it. Yeah. So that if it's a problem, you want to make money. Yeah, maybe people might not. The marketing for it is weird though. Yeah, no doubt, right? I could easily see that. But anyway, I just want to say, like, this is the result. It's like you try to create narratives and do shit like this, and then eventually you have people calling history fake. That's it, and it's really sad to see it happen, man. It really is. But I think this is a great example, and it's what I've been talking about for a long time.